Greetings, fellow 3D artists and developers. My name is Josh Lennon, Principal Artist and Art Director for Digital Cyber Cherries. We have a very big console release happening on Xbox at the end of May in 2024 for our action-adventure FPS Hypercharge Unboxed. You play as an action figure in a real-world scaled environment defending the Hypercore from waves of enemy toys. Our marketing department wanted to create this promotional image you see here. And so they came to me with a briefing. It's typical briefing that you would see from most people that are not artists. It's not their job to make the artwork. It's their job to give you this idea, and you turn that idea into this. So I knew I had all the items that I really needed for the image in terms of the action figures, the background, the text we could do in post, the lighting effects we could do in the engine and in post. What I didn't have, despite all the boxes that I have in the game, I don't have anything with these hidden barcodes. I don't have anything with the Hypercharge logo on it. And I want it to resemble the kind of box that you would see if you are an action figure collector. So if you are an action figure collector like me, you'll recognize the style of box that this is. And I decided to use this promotional project as a use case for InstaMAT. And at the end of the day, we were able to create that asset inside of here. We have the box as a base layer, and it has its own logos, and it's got tape on it. And we're going to look at how we can take a pre-existing asset with some modified UVs and turn it into something unique. Let's just go ahead and get started. So we're going to do a new package and say don't save. And I'm going to create this asset so that it could be used inside of the game. The asset that I created before was just made for that one angle. So if you're familiar with working in 3D art and you just got to get something done, I'm pretty sure you'll think of a lot of the ways I didn't address a lot of issues. And those are the issues that we're going to cover in this 12-part development series. Let's go ahead and take all of the assets that we need. I generated these 2D graphics inside of another application. And I have my 3D model here that's been pulled from a marketplace pack and modified UVs and normals so that I could work with it inside of InstaMAT. And now I have everything right here at my fingertips ready to go. And I'm going to go ahead and save my package. And I have that right there. So this is going to be my Hypercharge box package. And let's just go ahead and start our layering project. So we just click on the little plus icon here at the top. And we want to do a layering project. If you've ever used a layering software before, you'll be very comfortable inside of a layering project. So this Hypercharge box artwork is what I'm just going to call this one. And the asset is not utilizing any virtual textures. We don't even use virtual textures inside of Hypercharge. It was a feature that was introduced well after we began development. We're going to do pick package resource, and we're going to pick our local file there and say create project without template. First thing I know is I'm going to put this asset inside of Unreal. I'm going to make sure that my mesh format is set to Unreal. That's where it was generated. That's where it's going. Let's keep it all consistent. And let's go ahead and start by adding in some cardboard. So if we click on the very top here where we have a plus layer icon, we're going to pick a new element layer, and we're going to look for cardboard. And you can see that there's two here. We have cardboard, and then we have cardboard side. We're going to use both of these, and so I'm going to pick cardboard first. And it's a really awesome pre-built element. It comes with some really nice features like this ripping of the cardboard. You can see all that corrugated medium, lots of dents and everything else. If we double-click this, we can name it cardboard base. And then if we look down here at the bottom, we have our projection, we have our layer element settings, and currently we're looking at the layer element channels. So we're going to look at the settings first, just so we can get a rough feel for what this guy is doing. If we modify the seed, we can get some nice procedural variations in there, which is really, really cool. And in fact, I'm pretty happy with how that is. I'm going to just scroll down here to the bottom. As you can see, there's this really cool sticker image function that I recommend everybody check out. It's fun to use. Just going to scale these dents so that they're not taking up so much space on the box. Maybe make this box a little bit cleaner to start out with, because we can always come back here and modify this. This is not an issue. But let's just keep it clean and consistent for right now. One thing that we do need to go ahead and address is that this flap is running with a corrugation that's perpendicular to this side. And that's not how cardboard works. So how can we fix that? Let's go ahead and look at our layer projection settings. As you can see, this white volume all the way around the box is the triplanar projection that's happening for this element. And since that part is being projected down, you can see what portion of the box it's actually modifying in the texture. Now, granted, you could go in here and rotate some stuff around, but this is not what we want. We want to make sure that we're working with the UVs that we already set up for our box. So I'm going to say UV. And right away that fixed the flow of the corrugation, but now the scaling is way off. Let's just go ahead and change that scale. If you make sure that your lock icon is enabled, we can go ahead and click and drag this and it will scale everything uniformly. So 2.93 looks pretty close. If I hold down Control, I can just click and drag and it'll round off that whole float point value. I'm going to leave this at about 4, I think. 4 is looking pretty decent. And now I see a lot of kind of repeating dents. So I'm just going to go back to this element and I'm just going to start modifying with some of these like finer dents that I don't really need right now. Try to get rid of some of that repeated nature, and that's looking better. It's still, you can still see some detail inside of that, and it works great. Next, let's add on the cut portion of each one of these exposed edges, because that's where we would see that cardboard side element. So let's add in that cardboard side element, and we're going to double click that and name it cardboard side. And as you can see right away, we're getting the same kind of projection setup by default with a triplanar. Let's go back to our projection settings and set this to UV instead. And let's modify the scale here so we can start to see it. You can already see the effect that we're getting. So I'm just going to go to 3. That looks like it's probably going to work really well for this cardboard base. But the cardboard side's everywhere right now, so we need to mask off this cardboard side. Let's go down here to the add mask, and we're going to do a mesh UV shell mask. Really handy, powerful function where we can select UV islands that will be masked off. And we're going to say pick UV shells and pick the UV island we want to use and hit cancel mesh picking. And as you can see, it's only applied to the one UV island that I selected. Let's go here to our material, and we're going to go to our layer projection settings, because as you can see, this corrugated portion is sitting in a weird place on this UV island. So if we start to click and drag this, you can see that we're getting close. That looks really nice, 0.164. Let's keep that. That came out nice, and let's, just for argument's sake, so you can see what's going on here, I'm going to pick UV shells, hold down Shift, click the first one that I have, and now I'm going to add this other exposed edge and then go back to the element. And as you can see, because I added this offset on the projection of cardboard side, it works only really well on this one specific UV island. So this is a use case scenario that you need to pay attention to and how you build your layering structure. At the end of the day, so long as you get it to work, it'll work. But this is not going to work out for us to have the same UV offset as we have for this UV island. So we're going to duplicate this guy. Actually, we're going to, first and foremost, we're going to undo that. And now we're going to duplicate. And I'm going to name this cardboard side 02. And I'm going to go back to this UV shell mask. And so long as I only pick the one I want, it's only going to apply that mask to that UV island. And I'm picking this one UV island here, hitting cancel mesh picking. As you can see, there's only one position put into place here. So if I turn off this other cardboard side element, that's now its own. This is now its own. which is really nice. I can go back here to the cardboard side, and I'm going to modify this with a value I know pretty much works. Done this a few times now, and there we go. That came out nice. Let's add this one here. So we'll duplicate this element, come over here and rename it. Always please make sure that you are being as organized as possible. It took me a long time to pick up on that and when I started my 3D career, and the sooner you do it, the easier your life will be. In mesh picking mode, picking this UV island, going back to the element, and again, I'm going to use a value I know works. And then lastly, there is one more little island here I want to add in, so we're just going to duplicate this again and modify the UV shell mask. So I'm using only this one, and that one actually worked out great utilizing the same UV offset. So that is a wrap for this video. We've got a few things going on our cardboard here. In the next video, we're going to take a look at how we can start to add in this kind of banding at the top with some additional logos. Until then, I really appreciate you watching, and take care.